So this is my mom's 1930 or 31 Model A Roadster. She's had this thing for a number of years, but really hasn't taken it out and enjoyed it in quite some time. I think it's been sitting since like 2019, maybe 2020, something like that. So she asked me to throw it on the trailer, bring it over here to the shop, get it back up and running so that it can actually be taken out on the road again. And I believe her plans are to probably sell it. There's a big hot rod show here in Austin, Texas this weekend, which is called the Lone Star Roundup, which would probably be a pretty good opportunity for her to sell this thing. So this thing ran fine the last time she drove it, so I'm hoping we don't have to dig into the carbs or anything like that, but we'll see. The battery is going to be the first thing I want to get going on so it can have a little while to charge. And there it is. So we'll throw a charger on that. Also, wow, it's dated 2014. Yeah, we might end up having to replace that. We'll see if it comes back to life. I tried and failed to get the battery to charge. It is dated April of 2014, so it's a 9-year-old battery. My charger was just flashing that it was defective, and I believe it if it's that old. So we're gonna put that on the shopping list. In the meantime, I threw the jump box on here, and I want to hook up my little starter switch directly to the starter solenoid. My mom was complaining that when she goes to start it up, she remembers like probably 8 out of 10 times it would just make a super loud grinding noise. So there's a couple of reasons of why that could be. It could need to be shimmed, or the starter could be flexing and not engaging with the ring gear properly. Got my button hooked up, so we should be able to click this and hear it turn over. Caution headphone users, if this thing grinds, it's probably gonna sound awful. So let's go for it. Doesn't sound great. Let's see if I can look underneath and see what it's doing. I don't know if you can tell, but that little pinion gear is actually stuck out right now, which that too would cause some issues. If that gets stuck out when the engine starts, it can kind of grind. It'll basically just turn the starter over with the engine power, you know, way faster than it's designed to go. So I'm thinking the starter is tired. New starter came in this morning. It's the benefit of being so close to the Summit Racing Texas warehouses. Everything is basically overnight. So I just went with this high torque mini starter. It does come with new mounting hardware as well as some shims. I'm not sure what we're going to need just yet. I'm going to go ahead and yank out the old starter, get this bolted in. I'm going to start with no shims. We'll see how everything lines up, how the gears mesh together, and then determine if we need to make any adjustments from there. New starter's in, and I also went ahead and threw in the new battery. We are ready to test this thing. Got my starter button hooked up again so I can look underneath, make sure we're getting good engagement, disengagement, all that kind of stuff. No crazy grinding. I ended up doing a 2 shim setup on there to get the depthing right. Here we go. So I'm looking at it. I think we might actually take it out and shim it with these as well. Got the new spacers in. Let's try it again. I do have the ignition disconnected, by the way, because I don't want this thing to start on me. Looks pretty good to me. What do you say we connect the ignition back up on this thing and just see if it'll start at all? Good fuel pressure. Yep. Fire in the hole, maybe? Can't reach the throttle pedal. Hey, not bad. Not bad at all. I do still have all this old junky fuel in here, so I'm gonna drain that out. We'll put some fresh stuff in here and see if we don't have to start messing with the carburetor tuning. Got some fresh gas in there, and I have two other projects to knock out real quick before we take this thing for a test drive. One is the transmission pan gasket is really dry rotted and cracking, so it is leaking a little bit. So we're going to replace that, put some fresh trans fluid in it. We're also going to do a quick oil change, and then we're going to pull this thing outside and see if she'll actually move under her own power. New trans pan gasket is on. I went ahead and put 3 quarts of trans fluid in it. It calls for 4, but you're supposed to check it with the engine running and it kind of warmed up, so I'll wait to check that and kind of top it off here in a minute. Oil change is done as well. So I'm gonna start it up. Ideally, we can let it run for a little while. It can kind of clean itself out and we'll see how well it idles. I'm hoping it'll come back to life pretty easy. I think it was just some old gas, that was why we couldn't idle before, so here we go. She seems happy. Alright, here we go. Give it a little brake test. Brakes feel pretty good. Go for test drive number 2 here. The first one went well. Just wanted to let it sit for a little while and then do a kind of warm start. See how it does again. Starts good. Get on it a little bit. So I'm going to say that's mission accomplished on the hot rod project. I did actually do a review-ish kind of overview video of this car like 5 or 6 years ago. I'll throw a link to it right here if you want to go check that out and kind of learn a little bit more about the car, see me drive it a little bit more and that kind of stuff. I mean, as you saw, it came back to life super easy. So I think this thing's gonna be pretty easy to sell. If by any chance any of you guys are interested in it, shoot me an email at taylor@classicoctane.com. I will forward it on to my mom and she can kind of talk through pricing and all that kind of stuff with you guys. I don't know what she's gonna ask for it. But if you're interested and you're in the Central Texas area, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, I have an R65 BMW to finish building and a bunch of stuff to do on my 69 Camaro. So we're gonna get to work on that stuff. I'll see you then.